Not very good at it.
Me neither.
Okay, hi Paulie. Thank you for taking the time to do this Q&A with me. So Paulie is an amazing pattern cutter that I met when I actually lived in China, but he was based in Paris, where you have been for the last 7 years. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you just made a transition to LA, but unfortunately, because of this coronavirus, you're now stuck in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been in LA for a couple of weeks. Now I'm stuck in Australia.
Yeah, but hopefully the time will pass fast.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So I'd like to begin with just by asking you, how did you begin your path as a pattern cutter? And was it always something you were interested in, or it kind of came to you as you began your fashion journey?
I actually used to make clothes for myself when I was a teenager. When I was like really, really young. I used to go to raves with friends and we used to make ourselves crazy outfits.
Oh, so
It
fun.
was kind of like a fun creative outlet for us.
Yeah.
And that's how it was kind of just, it was messy at first. It was just fun. There was, I don't know, it was just like for fun. And then I just kind of grew into it a bit more.
Yeah. Okay. And then did you, because you're from Australia, so did you then study fashion at college or anything like that?
Yeah. Well, I was always kind of like interested in fashion, but like initially I was just kind of interested in streetwear. And when I started studying, I started learning more about all the kind of great designers like Gaultier, Pierre Cardin, Terry Mugler, Givenchy, Dior. And then I kind of had a more in-depth appreciation for the craft, the art of fashion and pattern cutting.
Yeah.
And I was always just kind of loved the big volumes and silhouettes they were able to do.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. And then that's what took you down the path to then study, is that correct?
Yeah, I guess I was also when I was like in high school, I always loved mathematics and working things out, and I kind of
Perfect for
see it kind
pattern.
of like I love working stuff out and pattern making. Like even when you see something like a garments and just trying to like wonder how do they make that?
I love doing that. I love like going, I mean, I think we've spoken about this before, but like going into a shop and then actually just like looking inside the garment and being like, ooh, like how have they constructed this?
Yeah, I do that a lot, but it's a bit creepy when I do it because I'm a guy looking at girls' clothes.
True. Yeah, you must feel a little bit more odd. Didn't really think about that, but I guess I can get away with that a bit more. um, and then did you study pattern cutting in Paris?
Oh yeah, sorry. I did 3 years in Melbourne. I did like a fashion course that was more technical based. There was more sewing and pattern cutting and design as well, but it was more technical based. So that's kind of where I started. And then I worked for maybe about 7 years, but I ended up in Paris and I also did a year course there at the École de la Chambre Syndicale, and that was technical based as well. So it was like pattern cutting, draping.
Yeah, amazing. And now, and like, am I right in thinking that because you worked at Chloe quite a long time, didn't you? And there were you a
Yeah.
draper mainly? Were you mainly draping?
Yeah, in Paris, most things are draped. Like
Okay.
sometimes things can come from blocks, but there'll be retrays draped on the mannequin and changed anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of like the technique is called moulage. It's like the French way of draping.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just throwing fabric on the mannequin. There's lots of rules
Okay.
you have to follow. You really have to like follow. Yeah, you have to know where your grain line is at all times
Yeah.
to make sure like it falls parallel to the perpendicular to the ground, so you get nice falling garments.
Mm-hmm. So would you always start then with, I guess you got your mannequin and then you always start with the fabric, like with the grain line straight down to the ground and then drape from there? Or you just are aware, like, I'm turning my fabric this way when I'm pinning it on, so now my grain line's this way?
Yeah, it kind of depends on the design, but they really respect the grain line of the fabric. So if they want something to fall a certain way, they'll turn the fabric a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
It's always like we when we're draping, we always know where the bust, waist, and hip line are,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
we either kind of keep them like parallel to the ground, so things are always leveled,
Mm-hmm.
or we play with that and move things, play with it so things fall forward or things fall backwards.
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes things are a bit neat, and then we decide to, f them up a bit and make the silhouette a bit more interesting than just
Yeah.
so neat.
Okay. Oh, it's so, like, it's so interesting to hear about that technique. 'Cause I guess I have just, I mean, when I do draping, it's like, I guess in a way sort of self-taught, to, I guess I know like flat pattern cutting, and then I take
Yeah,
that and I then do my draping, but I'm always aware about, I think like you, like where my waist and hip and bust are, and so that when I put my drape flat, that I kind of am aware where all my points are still, so it is
yeah,
all the same. So I'd like to learn more about the way that you
yeah.
do it as well, because it sounds really interesting.
But I think it's a good. I kind of started off like you as well. That's a good way to explore, and I guess you kind of like at the end you listen to the fabric because the fabric kind of tells you what it wants to do and what it doesn't want to do.
Hmm. I love that. I'm always
Yeah,
like, there should be like emotion behind your pattern. Like I'm always
yeah,
like look at your pattern and it should kind of like talk to you like I look good or I don't look good, you know. So
yeah.
I like that you referenced your fabric like that as well, because I totally understand what you mean. And do you have like a favorite thing to make or a special area?
Um, I like doing like big things, working like big silhouettes. Like even if they're just kind of basic, nice silhouettes, like a nice big sleeve or something. But I
Hmm.
also like doing like big flowy things with like lots of gathers and lots of like lace and
Hmm.
like super girly, super Chloe.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I can imagine in Paris like lots of like delicate fabrics, and I think, yeah, like you said, like quite like feminine and floaty. um I
Yeah,
could definitely
and
see that vibe.
meters and meters and meters and meters of fabric and clothes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes just a sleeve.
Just for one sleeve.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get a bit overwhelmed when there's so much fabric. I'm like, oh my god, it's keeping going. Like,
yeah,
where am I going to put this all? Especially when your table's not big enough. That's quite stressful. When it's like,
that's usually the case. Tables are never big enough.
no. No. And so is that something that inspires you quite a lot then, the fabric?
Um, yeah, there's like what inspires me. I have to say, like I love looking vintage, like vintage clothes, vintage books. Like I always feel like they always got like really interesting cuts and finishings that have just kind of been forgotten over time.
Yeah.
Like I especially really love the 70s, but that might be because I worked at Chloe for so long. I think I might have been influenced.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
ingrained.
Yeah. Nice. It's always interesting to hear where, well, I think when you work somewhere for a long time though, you naturally kind of morph into the brand a bit, because I definitely felt
Like it's true.
like I definitely feel like I kind of morphed into the style of like working at Victoria Beckham, because I was there for so long as well. So I think it kind of you can't help it, but it happens. Definitely. And did you find it quite in, like, how was it after studying to kind of stepping your foot into the fashion industry? Did you find it a challenge, or were you quite fortunate with it? And yeah, do you have any advice or tips on people that are trying to make that transition?
Yes, it's very difficult just trying to break in. Like
Mm.
sometimes the hardest part is even just getting the interview. But I feel like you just got to keep pushing and trying and learning and keep asking questions, keeping curious.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I think that's so important, like curiosity, because I think when you stop being curious, you kind of, I guess, the passion slightly goes, and you become like a bit demotivated. Um, so having that curiosity there is always, yeah, a really nice thing to just keeping wanting to learn, like, and keeping like pushing your skills and your knowledge, which I think is super
it's
important.
like, because I've worked for a few different companies, everyone has their own way of doing stuff. So sometimes I just ask like, this is nice. Why'd you do it like this? How'd you do it? Can you
Mm-hmm.
show me how you do it? With your finishings? And
Yeah.
I guess it's nice to also not only speak to the pattern cutters, but also speak to the cutters and the
Mm-hmm.
machinists,
Mm-hmm.
because you're going to learn something from everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Like machinists, just
Yeah,
sometimes just like your magic.
it's true.
Like,
And you want the machinist on your side. If you
yeah,
want nice looking government,
all the
you don't
time.
want the machinist hating you.
Yeah, and I think like yeah, machinists can. I always find them really helpful with, say you're working with a new fabric where you haven't you haven't used it before, and say you maybe put a finish on the pattern, and then they can come to you and be like, oh, actually this might work better, and you're like, oh great, and you learn something new from them, which is, I mean, you learn things new from them all the time, but yeah, I loved like always chatting to our machinists and gaining insight from their area,
Mhm.
which was
Sometimes it's like a machinist, the fabric, and just like, let's try a bunch of finishings and let's see which, then we'll choose which one looks nicest at the end.
yeah. And I think like you were saying with going somewhere new and asking questions, I think it can feel daunting being
Yeah.
the person that's asking a question, but it's so important, and I think you just have to not be scared to ask a question. Is that how you maybe feel as well? Like, I mean, I do find it
It's a
scary.
pretty ruthless
Like,
career. There's not a lot of time to be scared,
yeah.
because you have to get your job done
Yeah,
and people will be coming to you and asking questions all the time. So you have to,
you have you have to be on the ball.
yeah.
And I guess, yeah, you have to know what you're kind of talking about, because otherwise it won't go very well.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, I guess, yeah, having confidence is important for sure.
Yeah, but not arrogance.
No, no, we don't
I
want
feel like it's important to be able to, how do you say, like adapt to a new environment,
that. Mm-hmm.
not
Yeah,
go over there and
yeah,
beat
yeah.
your chest and say
Being
how it's
adaptable
done.
is a very good skill. And do you find you have like are there like certain challenges that you find working as a pattern cutter or in the fashion industry?
I'd have to say mostly dealing with egos,
Mm-hmm.
having to deal with
Yeah.
fashion designers who love changing their mind all the time, and you know, telling you one thing, telling you to like change something or to do a design. When it comes to fitting, they completely forgot what they told you, and you kind of have to pick your battles and can't always say, oh no, you said this. You kind of have to sometimes just nod along and be like, yes sir, I'll change it to however you want it to.
Yeah.
Pick the piece and just do your
Yeah.
job as you can.
Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes deep inside you're like bubbling a bit, but outside's composed.
Well,
And so a little bit about outside of work. What do you sort of do to like unwind from fashion and to get away from that area? Unless you like being fully immersed all the time, I'm not sure.
I feel like it's important. I think it's easy to get trapped in fashion 24/7. I think, especially when you're a young pattern maker and the boss loves to ask a lot from you.
Yes.
So I feel like you need to draw a line at some point and live your life a bit. Otherwise, you're going to get burnt out. You need to see your friends, go to the movies, read, be in nature,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
just live life a bit, because you can easily be trapped in fashion a lot,
yeah,
24/7.
yeah. I think that's so important, like to maintain a healthy mindset balance, like to be able to extract yourself from it. And I think in times of stress when I guess everything's really crazy and maybe you've got a deadline, but I always think to myself, no one's going to die if this dress isn't made. Like
That's what
no one's
yeah,
going to die, and it just sort of puts you in a bit of a reality check sometimes, because you can get so involved and like you're giving that all your energy to that one thing. So it's sometimes nice to just think that, to take yourself.
yeah. I've been screamed at because they sent the wrong buttons.
I know. Yeah.
Let's just change them. It's going to take me 15 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. And do you have a like a motto or a phrase that you feel represents you?
I just feel like just got to give things a go. Like, I personally, like, I don't even know how to do everything. I don't know the answer to everything, but I feel like it's like, let's just try it. Let's give it a go. Let's work it out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the only way you can really move forward.
Mm-hmm.
You just
That's
have to
great.
like try things.
Yeah,
Things don't always work out. You just
yeah,
gotta give it your best shot.
yeah. I think everything's figure outable.
Yeah,
Sometimes it just takes longer.
exactly.
And do you have any big goals or anything for 2020?
Well, hopefully I can move back to LA as
Mm-hmm.
far as can keep going on. But I just wanted to maybe try something else out, because I've been working fashion for a long time, like
Yeah,
even costume,
nice.
or work in cinema,
Yeah,
just see what happens.
yeah. It's
As I
how
say, my bridal as well. I've never done bridal.
Yeah, yeah. That would be a nice change of scene. Because how long have you been working in the industry?
Uh, I'd say maybe about 12 years.
Okay,
I don't know. I graduated in 2006,
okay.
and even though I've had to make, I'm terrible at maths when it comes to things like
I'm so bad at mental maths. I can't. I'm
that.
so slow. I just always have to use a calculator, and then my calculator's there. I'm okay. And would you be able to tell me like some of the places you have worked, or some of your favourite places you've worked?
Yes, because I've moved around. I guess I'm from Melbourne, but I also lived in London for 2 years. I also lived in Sydney for a year, Paris for 2 years, 7 years, and now I've just moved to LA. But some places I worked for were Christopher Kane in London,
Yeah.
and then in Paris there was Chloe, Nina Ricci, Jacquemus, and I just finished 7 years in Paris, scoring my dream job, working for John Paul
Amazing.
Gaultier for
Amazing.
Couture collection.
Yeah.
So that was
What
highlights of my
what a
career.
dream. Yeah. Oh, you should be so like chuffed and proud of yourself, because that's incredible. Yay.
It was a great experience. And I have to say, I like working haute couture because they really respect the hours, not like pret a porter.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. And you did send me some images of some work you did. So I'm just going to quickly share my screen, and maybe you can just. I'm just going to go through them, and if you want to say anything about any of them. I mean, I love this first one. Is it sharing? I'm not even sure. Can you?
It's pleats. So that was at Nina Ricci, and that was just like the intern did like a little pleat sample, and they said we want this to turn into a big shirt.
Yeah.
So sometimes how we work in Paris, like people make little samples, and we have to make them into real garments.
Hmm. I mean, I love that volume in the sleeve. It's amazing. It looks so good. Love it.
Well, there was a lot of volume to try to get rid of. It was quite tricky, but
Yeah.
I made it disappear.
And then has it changed? I'm not really good at this. Has it changed to a new image?
All right. So this is Nina Ricci as well. This dress was kind of haunting me throughout the whole collection. It was just kind of the first dress I started, the last dress I finished. It was just kind of changed over and over and over and over again. There was just like layers and layers and layers and layers of
Ganza.
different types of fabrics, different types of crinoline, different types of pleating, and that's the result.
Amazing. And is it, I'm guessing inside it's held up by a corset?
Yeah. The dress is very heavy.
I can imagine.
So there was lots of boning in that,
yeah.
in that corset.
Yeah. I mean, incredible. Incredible.
And this is I just like working on the big volumes. It's kind of big sleeves. You can't see the back, but it's all like it's huge cutouts, and that was fun working on.
Yeah. And which designer was that?
Oh, sorry, that's at Nina Ricci again.
At Nina Ricci again. Yeah. Really great volume, and also really is interesting fabric. It's, I mean, I don't know if I'm right in calling it. Is to me that looks like a parachutey kind of fabric, like a bit techie.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. Nice.
Yeah.
Bit.
And this was a Chloe.
Yeah.
And so that was just like pleats, lots and lots and lots of pleats, and working with different finishings and just seeing how it kind of balances on the body.
Yeah. Can you tell me some of the finishes you used on it, if you can remember?
Well, actually, we found the best way to finish all these pleats was this micro overlocker.
Like a baby lock, like the really tiny one.
Yeah, it was about 4 millimeters. It wasn't like the super tiny one, but it was like the flat is like no binding, no English seams.
What's an English seam?
Oh my god, a French seam.
A French seam, okay.
Right, in French, it's a couture anglaise. In French, they say an English seam.
That's so funny.
Voila, like in English.
And am I right in thinking that you would have the, I guess, like the square of fabric, you called it micro overlock or baby lock, the fabric, and then send it to the pleaters to get pleated, and
Exactly.
then back and then made. And
yeah, the right lengths, the right like overlocking.
Yeah.
On the bottom, have to like work out the panels exactly.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a mathematical nightmare, to be honest.
I can imagine. And then moving on to this, is this also Chloe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was that was very frightening because there was only one piece of fabric that I had to make the dress with.
Oh god.
So I had to like drape it. We had to like, you know, kind of hand it all together and fit it, and it was terrifying because there was only one piece of fabric that we could use.
Oh my goodness. Because it looks like it's like really
it's like micro pleating.
Yeah, like kind of uneven. I don't know if I'd call it like a bark tree, sort of when it's like a bit uneven, like pleated in. Is that what it's like?
It was actually like an even pleat, but they just stretched the bottom with lace.
And then is the lace, has that been like top stitched on top, like stretched? And then
so they do the pleating, and then once we get the pleating, then we add the lace on the bottom to give it that ripple effect on the bottom.
Yeah, that's so beautiful, and like I love that. I've not like come across that technique before, so that's very interesting.
Chloe loves stretching everything.
Do they?
Everything's on the wire stretched.
Stretch as much as possible.
Yeah.
And then this one, very different vibe.
Yeah, this is a Jean-Paul Gaultier. So we had to make a belt dress out of belts, all different sizes, of course. So and then there was like Swarovski crystals everywhere, but it was really amazing to see. We got like a belt maker to come in and make the belts.
Yeah.
So it was nice to kind of make the silhouettes, and then
so she's got obviously like a little bodice bralette thing, and then does that go does that stop underneath the bust, or does it continue down
It's actually zipped onto the dress as well. It was all zipped together.
Oh, where's the zip? At the back or?
No, it's like across the bust, like the underbit.
Oh, that bit zipped on.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
And
Interesting.
there was like zips everywhere.
Yeah. So the whole thing's been like zipped together, basically.
I think there was about 16 meters worth of zips on that.
What?
It's a very heavy dress.
Wow. I can imagine that being so. And are these all like metal teeth zips? I'm assuming. Yeah.
It's rusky. It's
Oh my
heavy.
goodness. That's gonna be so heavy. Amazing. Wow. I'd love to see that one like in real life. Like I bet I
It
just
just stands by itself.
yeah.
Doesn't even
Yeah. And then this one, really nice volume. Love that.
Well, that was just kind of like they were like playing around with circles. So we kind of got a circle draped on the body, and that's kind of how it just began. We kind of the designers started on like a half scale model, and gave me the half scale model and said, "I want this."
Yeah. Nice. And what kind of fabric is that?
That's a wool.
Ah, yeah, because it's holding its shape really nicely. Did you have to fuse it or anything like that?
No, it held its shape very nicely.
Yeah, nice. Good fabric. And then, oh, this is really
And
beautiful.
Chloe always gave me the big sleeves, the big dresses.
Yeah.
Like at Chloe and the big houses, if you do one thing well, they just end up making you do that over and over again.
Is that your like specialist area then, like big sleeves?
Big sleeves, big flowy things. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, amazing.
And
And does this one have like a shoulder? Is this like a set-in shoulder up there? Because I can't see a seam.
no, it's actually like a big square.
Oh, so it's like a kimono-y, like massive square, and then has
It's like literally a rectangle
Yeah.
from the waist.
Okay. And then what's whole? Because I can't see the cuff, but what's being?
Oh, it's all gathered into like a little cuff.
Okay. Oh, it's so beautiful. I love it. She looks so feminine.
And this was I always leave. I'm always at the last one doing the last dress.
Oh, really? Do you feel like the pressure? Like I need to.
All the time.
Oh, I hate that when your heart's like going quick all day. Yeah. And then this one, interesting. So, is that is that a like a clasp holding it in the middle, like a belt? The fabric's going through. Yeah.
I did a little stint at Terry Mugler, like between collections.
Mm-hmm.
So I did like a few pieces there, and it's kind of they mixed all the fabrics. So there was like leather with like bits of metal, and the skirts on the bias, and
Yeah. And what is that leather on the top or?
it is
Yeah. Nice.
There's like a little kimono sleeve, a little gusset.
Yeah. Does the gusset go all the way to the hem, or is it like a triangle, like a little
Triangle? Yeah.
Nice. And then the last one is this one. Again, these sleeves, amazing.
This was the very first piece I did at Chloe, and then I get stuck doing all the similar pieces.
So wait, did you say this was the first one you did at Chloe?
Yeah, this is my very first sketch.
Oh.
And then I just got stuck doing that same volume, but it was nice. I love doing that. So
yeah. And again, is that being held on the inside with like an elastic piece, like band, or is it like a woven?
I think it was just like a little binding.
Binding, okay.
But this fabric is like that real crepey type of muslin. Like chiffon, like really.
Yeah, like the chiffon that's sort of got the texture, or chiffon texture. But
it's like with Victorian, so there was like heaps of fitting problems. It just kind of kept stretching and stretching and stretching.
Oh no, that's not what you want at all. Oh, oh well, thank you for sending those because that's amazing getting to go through those with you. I'm just going to stop sharing again. But yes, that has been amazing. Any other questions? Let me just see. Yeah, like, thank you. That's been amazing just
Thank
having
you. It's been a
you
pleasure talking to you.
share some of your experience and knowledge. And yeah, so excited to have you on the platform and for
I'm glad
everyone.
it exists.
Thanks, Paulie.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.